Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Welcome to today's Thursday show. It is November 13th, just days away from Alabama taking on Oklahoma. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much, as always. I have so much gratitude for each of you inside the comment box. If you're not inside the comment box, get inside the comment box and let us know where you're watching from so we can give you a shout out in just a minute. If not, hit the thumbs up on this video. Starting off today with the trending topics, okay, going into Thursday, all right? This is a pivotal game, 100%. I think when you look at the magnitude of this game, it's really one of the biggest games in all of college football. I think you got three really monumental games this weekend. You have Texas taking on Georgia. You have Notre Dame taking on Pittsburgh. But I think one of the biggest ones right here in the SEC is Alabama taking on Oklahoma. I mean, Alabama, number 4 in the country in the college football playoff rankings. Call Oklahoma a top 10 team. I think they're 10 or 11, depending on what poll you want to look at. So we start there today. And I have to say, let's not forget about Ty Simpson. Can I get a thumbs up inside the comment box for our quarterback, Ty Simpson, please? All right, because I know, look, the title of the videos this week have been a running back that hasn't even played this week since week 2, but we cover the news and the trending topics as, they happen. But I think it all stems from the quarterback play, clearly, right? And I have given the defense their flowers this week, and I'm going to talk about the defense as well on this video because I love how the defense is playing, and that's kind of helps me with some confidence going into this game. But I have to start out with the quarterback. I mean, what Ty Simpson's been able to do and how he's operated this season, I mean, the entire story from the beginning to where we're at right now, and it's not completed by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not going to lose sight of quarterback Ty Simpson, man. I mean, what he's been able to do has been fantastic, and I'm going to show you kind of my confidence level going into this game. I have a graphic that I built, and I'm going to choose to live in the world of 21 touchdowns to 1 interceptions as opposed to 2 completions out of 14 on deep balls. I think the overall season, what Ty Simpson has done, not only on the field, but off the field as a leader, is something that this program certainly needed to continue the trajectory as one of the best programs in the nation. You hear what I said? That stems from leadership, and the way that Ty's been able to foster this group together overall has been certainly very impressive. The entire team respects him. The entire team has his back. This team listens to him. He is the team leader. He has called out guys when they haven't been accountable, and he's gotten things back on track. I fully and firmly believe that Ty Simpson can take this team as far as Alabama can go. It's been one hell of a story. We've covered a lot of amazing quarterbacks that are now playing in the NFL. We started covering out, Jalen, and you look to how Jalen Hurts has now won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. We covered Mac Jones and what he did in 2020. We covered Tua Tagovailoa. We covered Bryce Young. We covered Jalen Hurts. And now we're covering Ty Simpson. It's an amazing opportunity to see this quarterback at this entire level just absolutely balling out and leading Alabama right now to an 8-1 record, going into a one hell of a game versus Oklahoma. So I open the show not forgetting where it starts out with, and that is the quarterback play of Ty Simpson. I appreciate the 68 of you inside the comment box right now. Thank you so much, man. We are almost to 70 viewers. My goodness, 70. Love it. Love to see it. All right, look, Oklahoma, 100%. This is a very, very good football team. And I'll show you a quote here in a little bit that talks about Ty Simpson saying, what stands out about Oklahoma's defense? And he's like, pretty much every single thing stands out. And while a lot of the focus has been about Oklahoma's defense, I think we also have to talk about Oklahoma's quarterback and John Mateer, and kind of a quarterback that we knew that this guy could be this season. He is very capable. And I think when you kind of look to John Mateer and what he brings to the table, I think the healthier he gets, the more dangerous that he gets. And he also has a running ability, which Coach Kalen DeBoer did note when talking about Oklahoma's quarterback. So, look, don't get it twisted. This guy is healthy. He gets healthier day by day after surgery. And I like to give it up to John Mateer. Man, this dude had surgery in the middle of the season, and he still comes with it. All right, so we got 2 great quarterbacks going up against each other again. And that's what I love about the SEC. And that's what I also love about Ty, is he's been able to go against top-tier quarterbacks week after week after week and prevail, right? I love to see it. All right, we can't forget also that Alabama's 8-1. I don't want to live in doom and gloom. I think sometimes I was looking after LSU. Damn, fam, like, we got to be grateful for wins, period. And that doesn't mean that my standards are low, right? How many, look, I know there's 5,000 Alabama YouTube channels out there, okay? Look, my standard of my show is to stay in my damn lane, 100%. I want top-tier graphics. I want top-tier audio. I want top-tier lighting because that is the standard, okay? That's the standard for me. Now, the standard in college football today is winning, okay? And I think that we're so obsessed that if Alabama doesn't win by 42 points, by 28 points, that this team isn't good. Yo, beating LSU last week was a damn good win. I get it. Look, kind of a laughing stock, Brian Kelly, all this stuff that's happening outside noise. It's a damn good win. Okay, it is. Any team in the Big 12 would be terrified to play LSU. I promise you, they would. Same thing the week before against South Carolina, right? Or a couple weeks before. When you went to Columbia, right? When you went to Columbia, game was not at Bryant-Denny Stadium. The game was in Columbia, and Alabama was able to come from behind in a game where they had to be able to beat the Gamecocks. These are tough wins. 8 wins this day and age is hard to come by. I'm telling you, you better appreciate the wins. It doesn't matter how much you win by. Now, I get it. You want to self-assess, and are you getting better or worse? And I would have to say that it wasn't the offense's best performance, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat that because I don't like to live in a world where they have, the number 119 ranked, run offense. That's not the standard for me. They get a chance to figure it out. And we kind of move to the next segue point, which is talking about AK Deer this weekend. Look, the entire YouTube world, all right, the entire college football world that covers Alabama football has been talking about the running back that hasn't even played since week 2. So I have an honest question for you inside the comment box because, look, this all started when AK Deer himself posted a picture of him playing and said, kind of an update. That indicates to all of us that he's going to play this weekend. But we don't know. And Coach Caitlin DeBoer talked about him, right? Let me ask you, does AK Deer, fam, does he have more than 10 carries this weekend? More or less than 10 carries? Does AK Deer have more or less than 10 carries against Oklahoma? Sound off inside the comment box. Man, I think that's one hell of a question because we're like, damn, I don't even know if he's going to play. And look, I think we're at the point of time in the season where you make changes. Under Coach Saban, there was a time of year, and this is big boy football, like you have to make changes. And if Coach Caitlin DeBoer truly feels that they have to make some changes at running back specifically, just like they've given different offensive linemen opportunities, just like they've given different wide receivers opportunities, then you do that. And you don't be scared to do it, right? For me, I'm curious to see if the kid plays, number one. And if he does play, what do we see from him and the opportunities that he gets? And if he can't get anything going, then I kind of go back again to, the offensive line. And I'm like, okay, well, the common denominator where every single running back gets in are the 5 linemen that are starting, right? Or we go to the scheming. But, damn, I am as curious as you. We're going to go crazy if we see AK Deer get on the football field. And we're going to watch him with a microscope, 100%, all right? Also trending today, you have Alabama basketball. All right, please don't forget about your Alabama basketball team. I know there's a lot of Alabama basketball fans up here in the chat and across the nation that love the Tide. The Tide take on, you could look at it number 1 or number 2, Purdue. Number 1, I think they're in the coaches poll. Number 2, Purdue's in the AP Top 25 rankings. That game is tonight at Coleman Coliseum. Alabama is ranked 8th in the AP. It's going to be one hell of a matchup. That tip-off is at 6 p.m. at Coleman Coliseum. I love Nate Oates and what he brings and his coaching style. I love that competitive spirit. I like, being around people that have that dog mentality. He has that dog mentality. So I think Nate Oates, what he's done, this is kind of like the golden age of Alabama basketball. We will talk about that more on the back end of the program. Let me give some AM shout-outs. Let me see who's here today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We started up at the top. We got Miss Anita. What's up, Anita? Good to see you. We have Miss Amanda Jane as well. We have Robert Bradley Bradley Jr., thank you so much for kicking it with us. We have Chris from New Jersey, Bruce Williams. We have Miss Kimberly. We have Steven Taylor. We got Young C. What's up, Young C? Good to see you, man. We have MHS 0407. We have Crystal Jones. We have Rex Green. We have Zion Gibson. What's up, man? We have Timothy. What's up, Timothy? Hope you're safe on the road, man. I know you're out there traveling from time to time. We have Tolbert Street. Good to see you. We have Byron Walker. What's up, bro? Good to see you. We have Southern Gal. What's going on? Southern Gal, I know you've been inside the comment box trying to get the antenna going. Let us know if you are able to get that antenna hooked up. The antenna life for me has been a good life. Coach Smith, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. I appreciate the support. I also see you on the Facebook channel as well. So thank you so much for kicking it with us. Chris from New Jersey, we always appreciate you, and thanks for calling in as you usually do. Miss Beth James, good to see you. We have A. Washington, what's up? We have Ethan Wilson, what's up, man? Good to see you. He's our spiritual leader inside the comment box. We have Dan Caraway. What's up, Dan? How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. And then we have Diamond Guy. What's up? We appreciate you. Ryan Paris, good to see you, man. And Zion Gibson, man. What's up, dog? All right. Okay. I think we said what's up to Crystal Jones. Did we say that? All right. All right. Well, thank you so much, fam, for kicking it with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you. And we kind of go back to, a trending topic, which is AK Deer. And, Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked about AK Deer yesterday on Wednesday during his SEC teleconference. And I love this quote, to be honest. He's like, "We saw enough from him early to know he's an explosive player." Let me rewind. Can I ask you, fam, inside the comment box, do you all remember AK Deer against Louisiana Monroe? Do you remember? It was in the back end of the game. And I remember, what do you remember about AK Deer when he had opportunities? Because he hasn't had that many. He has 85 yards, a longest of 56. What stands out for me is I kind of rewind to that game against Louisiana Monroe, and there were a lot of freshmen were playing, right? I mean, things are rolling for Alabama. Things are just cooking. You have Keelan Russell in, you have Austin Mack in, you have everybody, you have a walk-on catching a touchdown. And then when we saw AK Deer, yeah, like Max, I'm with you, bro. I was like, ooh, man, he looks nice. He looks shifty. And then when I saw him kind of with his breakaway speed, I was like, oh, man, this guy is it, okay? Now, at that point in time, Jam Miller wasn't healthy, and Kevin Riley was kind of leading the show at that point in time. But like B-Rob says inside the comment box, when he hit that sideline and kind of took off, you saw the explosiveness. You kind of saw that next gear that we were expecting AK Deer to have. So he came with it, and he had that burst. So we as fans, we want to be able to see what he has against, let's face it, tougher competition. And he's clearly matured at this point in season. I mean, are these guys even freshmen anymore? Someone even on the Facebook channel, they were like, is he a redshirt freshman? Which isn't a bad question. I mean, a lot of people don't follow the team like, player by player. They're just curious. He's a freshman, right? And you look to all the freshmen that have contributed this year, it's been amazing. I mean, we can list off a bunch on defense and offense that have had opportunities, and maybe AK Deer is primed to see more playing time right now. So I'm as excited as you. I have to caution you, though. If he doesn't play, let's not throw anybody under the bus, okay? Let's not get mad at the coaches. Let's not get mad at AK Deer. Like, the coaches have their own philosophy and their own schematic situation to beat Oklahoma. That's the most important thing, okay? Getting AK Deer reps, when it's time, that will come. And remember, you have a game next week against Eastern Illinois where I would imagine that there's some opportunities for a lot of younger guys to play. But that TD run, Rex, I think it was 56 yards against Louisiana Monroe. So let's not throw anybody under the bus if he doesn't get 10 runs. Let's not, throw Ryan Grubb under the bus or, anyone let's just wait and see what happens if he does get opportunities. And let's see what happens with the running backs that are starting, okay? I would imagine we all go crazy if it's, number 0 that comes out and he's the starter against Oklahoma. I don't know if that'll happen because, you have a healthy Jam Miller and Daniel Hill, who I know everybody has been calling for. We as fans, I think, are just excited for freshmen, period, always to get opportunities. But we did see something against Louisiana Monroe, and that's kind of what we're hoping for it to maybe get going with the running game. Because we have to say that Alabama's pass offense, we like where it's at besides the deep ball. We really do. We just want Alabama to be a balanced team. as I start looking at the top teams in college football, kind of 1 through 5, are those balanced teams? Yeah, I think you could say 100%. I mean, I did a lot of research recently on Indiana, and the biggest takeaway for me was they're averaging 255 through the air and 231 on the ground. I get it. They're not playing anybody, but still, that is an impressive stat, right? Can Ohio State run the ball? Yes. Can Ohio State throw the ball? Yes, right? Texas A&M, same thing. Alabama's kind of right there, and right now their run game is not like the others when you compare it to 1 through 4. So we are following AK Deer. Let's see what our boy Run the Table has to say inside the comment box. What's up, Run the Table? Good to see you, dog. He says no question about his talent, but he's going to play if he doesn't block well. You know what? That is a damn good point. Okay, thank you so much for bringing that up, Run the Table. I'm glad you've been able to make the morning shows, by the way, because we do look at some of the Alabama running backs, and I know everybody's excited about Daniel Hill. Everybody's excited for, opportunities for AK Deer, but I do have to bring this up. In terms of picking up a blitz, I have seen Daniel Hill struggle in that aspect. Look, is he scared of contact? Absolutely not. But that is something that has stood out to me. Like Jam Miller, that's kind of his best attribute. So we are looking for, I guess, a complete running back. Does AK Deer have that? Because I'll tell you what, and this is why, Run the Table, you might have just cracked the code, dog. This is why we might not see AK Deer in this game, okay? Don't be shocked. Do you really want, think about it like this. Do you really want AK Deer, who has limited experience and who isn't the biggest back? Now, he's big, 210 pounds. Do you really want AK Deer in against Oklahoma when they have the 33 sacks on the year and the most tackles for loss and 33 sacks? Do we really want him coming in for pass protection for Ty Simpson? I don't know. I just, that seems a little bit dicey. So are we excited for opportunities? Yeah. I just caution you that that's probably the reason why we don't see a lot of AK Deer this weekend. All right. So I asked you, do we get 10 carries from the kid? I don't know. I'd probably say under. And as Rex says, Alabama is at home. In fact, it is homecoming for the Crimson Tide against Oklahoma. So Run the Table Sports, bro. I think you're 100% right. Do we want AK Deer going up against Oklahoma's defense? Probably not, right? And then is Danny Lewis out? Yes, we will get to the injury report here in a second. I don't know what's gone on with Danny Lewis, but unfortunately, he has been really banged up this year, and he won't be playing this weekend against Oklahoma. As you can see, kind of perfect timing for you to ask about the injury report. I'll go left all the way to the right. You have Jaw Latham, right? He was injured. And unfortunately, man, that was a nasty neck injury. And I think we have to be grateful that he's just okay from that. I mean, it was neck injuries, head injuries. I mean, those are very, very serious. So I'm glad that he's okay. You have Drake Kirkpatrick. Obviously, you know what's going on with him with his, being arrested a couple weeks ago. Abdul Sanders, he has a cast on his arm. You have Danny Lewis. Danny Lewis, unfortunately, as a tight end, I feel he's one of Alabama's best blockers. But this guy's been banged up all year, unfortunately, for the kid. So he's going to be out again this weekend. So you look to Josh Cuevas and then freshman Caleb Edwards, who has been getting opportunities as, the next tight end in those 12 personnel sets. 12 personnel is when they have two tight ends on the field at the same time. You have Jeremiah Beeman, a defensive lineman, who went out with a leg injury. And despite those injuries, there's not a lot of guys that are really out. Overall, Alabama is super healthy, which is really great going into this next kind of championship part of the season. So good to see them that they're at health. You do have questionable. Now, this is very interesting on Quay Russaw and Caden Jones. I'll start with Caden Jones first. Caden Jones is an inside linebacker. He's been out for several weeks, I think, with a foot injury as well. And then Quay Russaw, I think he went out at the back end of September with a broken foot. Him being back is phenomenal. I said on another video, Jeff Allen being here, head of the sports and science, that guy is remarkable in terms of how he can get guys back to speed. This isn't like, you or I, get a bang-up injury. This is a world-class facility. Quay Russaw is also a world-class athlete. I have said 1,000,000 times, 100 times, don't look at it as a negative with Quay coming back. You just have another elite talent on defense that you can rotate in. Maybe Yanzi Pierre. Maybe he needs a blow. Well, you put Quay Russaw in. Is there a formation where you get both of those guys on the field at the same time? I don't know. That would be up to Kane Womack. I'd love to see it. But, having Quay Russaw back, I think that should make everybody happy. I don't want to see one person be like, oh, man, he's coming back. No. Like, we're getting ready to go into the nitty-gritty of the college football season, and you are going to need all the best players that you have in order if you want to make a run to the national championship. So, look, Yanzi Pierre, clearly the starter, playing with his hair on fire. That guy is probably the best football player on the team right now in terms of where he's at talent-wise, along with Ty. And Quay Russaw coming back is just another added bonus. I didn't know this. Deshaun Jones is listed as probable. This is a guy that we don't often talk about. He had a pick six earlier in the season that was huge for Alabama. And behind him is Red Morgan. It's kind of that third corner that gets onto the field. So Deshaun Jones is a transfer that came in a couple seasons ago from Wake Forest. He does play. He does start for Alabama. And behind him is Red Morgan. But he is listed as probable. Kind of one of those underrated guys that you're like, who is this guy? But he stepped up. Actually, Deshaun Jones has played really well this year. All right, going back to Coach Kalen DeBoer talking specifically about Quay Russaw, he said this, look, I would consider him ahead of schedule and is questionable for this weekend. So we'll see. Inside the comment box, do you feel that we get Quay Russaw back this weekend? And if we do, how do we see him utilized? What do you do with Yanzi Pierre and Quay Russaw, being that they do play the same position? And you know what? I have to think about this as well. Let's say, because Yanzi Pierre is a redshirt sophomore. Quay Russaw is a redshirt sophomore. Is there any way possible that next year, being that Alabama loses 3 inside backers, right? Justin Jefferson, you lose Nakai Hill-Green, you lose Deontay Lawson. Is there any way that you maybe move Quay Russaw to an inside backer? You keep Beyonce there. You have Noah Carter in development. You have Justin Hill, right? You have Caden Jones, all those young freshmen right now that are kind of growing up. That way, you wouldn't necessarily have to go into the transfer portal to bring in kind of a vet. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense. I would imagine that he has the athleticism to now switch over to inside linebacker if that is something. But I'm kind of curious to see what they do with Quay Russaw because I think he's that versatile of a player. I don't know. Could be interesting going forward. Let me know. All right, let me go to the comment box. Let's see what we got. Reginald Green says this. Kyle, what are your thoughts on allowing 3 to 4 running backs play and do it by committee? I think we've kind of seen that a little bit. And I'm sometimes against this. I feel that one running back needs to really get into a rhythm, and when that running back gets hot, you keep him hot. Over here, no running back has really got high. The only running back that I think for a time being, was cooking was Kevin Riley and then Jam Miller at different points in time, right? Kevin Riley kind of in those first couple games, I think against Louisiana Monroe and I think against Wisconsin. And then when Jam Miller came back, Jam looked good against the first couple of SEC opponents. He really did. He looked good against Georgia. He looked really good against Vanderbilt, running for 137 yards. He looked good against Missouri until he got the concussion. And then after that, their running game's kind of gone the opposite way, right? I mean, Daniel Hill has had some opportunities, and he's looked good in some spots, but he hasn't really gotten to his groove just yet. So that's why I think Alabama fans are like, is another running back going to get hot? But throughout the course of the year, we've had a couple guys get hot, but right now the running game just obviously trending the opposite way. Let's see. Rex Green says that we have inside linebackers waiting on the wings, and but a lot of them with no experience, right? Caden Jones, limited experience. QB Reese, limited experience. You have Daryl Duke Johnson. He's a freshman, limited experience. You have Luke Metz, hasn't played. And then you have Abdul Sanders, hasn't played. Now, those guys are in development. Those are 5 inside linebackers that will be coming up. But maybe if you could switch Quay over to inside, that it might be an interesting experiment. All right, kind of getting to Oklahoma and Brett Venables. And by the way, I'm going to post inside the comment box a poll that I would appreciate your all's participation. Let's see. I'll ask you again. Confidence level against Oklahoma. All right. We'll say high. we'll say mid, and today we'll just say low. Yesterday we said we too low, but today we'll just say low. All right. Brett Venables, when asked about Alabama earlier on the SEC teleconference, which takes place on Wednesday, he had this to say. He really has great respect for Ty Simpson, right? Who wouldn't? 21 touchdowns to 1 interception and rates as second best in the SEC in terms of passing yards and passing efficiency. He's just been fantastic. Going to be, again, a great challenge for us. Alabama's won 17 games in a row at Bryant-Denny Stadium. They've got the longest home winning streak in the country. To be honest, some of the coaches kind of seem like villains. Brett Venables doesn't. He seems like a good guy. He just seems like one hell of a football coach. And I've mentioned a lot of different times that I feel that when he was at Clemson, he was responsible for some of those Clemson teams that won a national championship, right? I always looked to him and Dabo Swinney as he was kind of a guy that got overshadowed. And now to see him at Oklahoma, I think he's absolutely cooking. I think he's a really good football coach. When you look at Oklahoma overall and you kind of lift up the hood to see who they have played, I do think that win against Michigan was notable. And what stands out for me in week 2 by beating Michigan is that John Mateer, when he was healthy, 270 yards passing, and he also had 74 yards on the ground as Oklahoma defeated Michigan by a score of 24-13. A couple weeks later, they beat Auburn by a score of 24-17. John Mateer, again, 271 yards and 29 yards rushing. And then a couple weeks later, they suffered their first loss of the season, losing to Texas. That was a game where John Mateer had just came back from surgery. They lost big in the Red River rivalry game by a score of 23-6. They did beat South Carolina 26-7. They did lose to Ole Miss, which was a really good football game, losing 34-26. Mateer, 223 yards, and then Robertson had the hot hand of 109 yards rushing. And then I think, their best win of the season clearly is beating Tennessee, who how I feel about Tennessee. I think that's a really good team. They beat Tennessee by a score of 33-27. I mean, Tennessee, right? They lost to 1 lost Georgia, 1 lost Bama, and 2 lost Oklahoma. That's a pretty good football team, and I think they probably feel that they should have won that Georgia game. So Tennessee, like I always say, another huge rival, but I think Alabama beating Tennessee, it might be, their second best win of the season, after beating Georgia. That's a good football team. And I think a team like Tennessee is able to beat, most of the teams in the Big 12. Like I know this may cause controversy, and I know this will never happen, but I think Tennessee beat Texas Tech, to be honest. All right, go back to the comment box. Someone says cooking with Kyle. Oh, no, we haven't done a cooking with Kyle in a long time. This summer, when we were kind of, warming up, we were doing, what we do? We did some ceviche. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys are ready for the ceviche. Some of you, no, a lot of people liked it. It's just like, that is not necessarily a Southern dish. I need to do like, something that I've taken on, since I've lived here in Tuscaloosa is, I've definitely been introduced to like old fashioned, right? And kind of the art of the old fashioned. Usually, bullet is the choice. But I need to work on kind of my smoking game. Like I've never really been into like smoking meats, but I think that's one particular area that I need to do better at. But I do have a very nice beer can chicken, and I haven't made beer can chicken in a while. I really haven't. I made an amazing pot roast for Easter, which I was really proud of. But yeah, we haven't done a cooking show in a while, so maybe we'll have to cook one of those up at some point in time. All right. Ty Simpson on Oklahoma. I thought that this was one of the biggest quotes of the week so far. And as we'll go over a couple different stats, you'll see why. Ty Simpson asked about Oklahoma earlier this week, and he said, look, everything stands out about their defense. Everything. They're only allowing 14 points per game this season. This is by far the most well-coached and disruptive defense that we have seen all season. 100%. That's why I kind of go back and it's like, man, do we really want, AK Deer right now to come in against Oklahoma? We would be so pissed if this young man struggles in pass protection. But everybody's going to struggle in pass protection this weekend against Oklahoma. So maybe we need to just pump the brakes just a little bit because, man, like the pass protection in this game, do you agree? Am I making, like, I feel like I'm kind of falling on deaf ears. Don't you think that pass protection is probably the most important in this game? We haven't seen AK Deer, and we're going to put out the young freshman and be like, yo, block these dudes. I don't know. I think, we have to hear what the quarterback Ty Simpson has to say on that. Back to the comment box. We said, Crystal says, Kyle, I need to send you a funny story about an old fashioned. Apparently they don't know how to make old fashions in Wisconsin. That's interesting, because it truly is an art form in the South. Of course, you have an old fashioned pretty much everywhere, but here it is complimentary. Like if I go to a buddy's house, I'm definitely getting a great old fashioned from any of my boys here. That's just kind of part of the Southern charm that I've came to understand. Like my buddy makes a better old fashioned than any sort of restaurant, 100%. So yeah. And then we also have, how about some chili? Yeah, there's a different style of, chili that I'd be willing to dabble in. And then somebody said something about smoked brisket. Yeah, I need to get on the smoked brisket. That needs to be kind of my next chapter is diving into that 100%. Okay, when you look to Oklahoma and you kind of pull up the stat board on the Sooners, I did this morning, and some of these stats stand out in kind of a positive way and a negative way in terms of I think Alabama could take advantage in a couple different spots. The first thing is I rely so much on your offensive third down conversion rate. Like that tells me a lot about you, 100%. Like I think that kind of tells me how good your offense is. And to only see them ranked 54th on third down conversions, I think they have some problems on offense as well. On the defensive side, they are ranked 8th, right, where opponents are only converting on 27% on third downs against Oklahoma. That is a damn good number. They are 88th on penalties. Now, Alabama has played a lot of opponents this year that have racked up a good amount of penalties, right? Just undisciplined teams. LSU was one of them. Tennessee was another. And look, LSU fans, they might have gone to social media or whatever and been like, it was home cooking. No, it wasn't. It was false starts. They weren't questionable calls. Like a false start penalty is not questionable. It's not. It's not like some of the pass interference calls. You could be like, oh, that was kind of questionable or whatever. They have, what do they have? Like 7 false starts? That's an undisciplined team being challenged by 103,000 fans. You can't hear the snap call, like period. So again, this team, look, 88th in terms of penalties, 77th on total offense. That's not too impressive to me. Only 373 per game. But again, defense, 7th total defense, only allowing 264. Really important number. Same thing with the next number. 2nd in red zone offense, 28 of 28. And I've already mentioned that their field goal kicker is excellent. I don't care if the dude is coming out in his Daisy Dukes or whatever. The dude has a longest of 55, and he is an excellent field goal kicker, 100%. They are 3rd in team sacks with 33. I know 10 of those came against Auburn in a single game, but that still is an average of 3.3 per game. 110th in turnover margin. That is terrible. Alabama is number 3. That could be the difference in the game right there, is the turnovers. Seriously. These guys, 5 fumbles and 7 interceptions. They don't force a lot of turnovers despite, not giving up a ton. But that could be a difference in the game because Alabama, they are ranked 3rd. They win the turnover margin pretty much every single game, right? 23rd in pass defense, 181. That's actually a little bit better number than I thought it would be. But in the games that I've watched Oklahoma play, I do feel that Ty will have opportunities downfield. And then 92 in sacks allowed with 20. So that means that Alabama will be able to get after John Mateer as well. So there could be, if you were to ask me, are there going to be more than 6 total sacks in this game? I'd say, yeah, I'd take the over on that. All right. So my level of confidence, I put out this little chart in terms of going into Oklahoma. And call me Mr. Optimistic. Do you guys get mad that am I too optimistic? Do I need to go to negative town a little bit more? I don't know. I feel like I like to live in this world of like reality, but also I'm like, man, 8-1, things are cooking. Bryant-Denny Stadium. I don't know. Maybe I need to go to negative town a little bit more. I don't know. But my level of confidence surprisingly is high going into this weekend, okay? I know the line is tight at 6, but look, these are my reasoning. This is my reasoning, okay? Stay with me here. Ty Simpson. What has he really done wrong? Honestly, he's taking care of the football. That is the biggest thing that you could ask for your quarterback. Plus, he's making NFL throws. I know. I see it too. You guys have some amazing, new favorite content creators, right? That breakdown film. You have the King of College Football. I mean, you have all this stuff at your access now. And Ty Simpson is making NFL throws. I know you guys see it. This guy is like, some of the throws that he made in this last game were super impressive to me. That touchdown to Ryan Williams was nasty. Now, I choose to live in the world of 21 touchdowns to 1 interceptions as opposed to living with 2 completions for 14 in terms of deep ball. Like, maybe the deep ball will come. Maybe that's not his strong suit. But damn, I'll take somebody that doesn't turn over the football and that has an amazing intermediate passing game, and he can hit on some deep balls. I mean, he hit on that one to Lazier Brooks. So I say in the world that 21 to 1, don't make mistakes, and you win football games, right? You want to live in Miami's world where Carson Beck threw 5 interceptions? Yo, that'll kick you right out of the playoffs. Surprisingly, Miami is actually still in the playoffs as of Tuesday. All right, going back to this, the defense. Yo, the defense, it has been playing with their hair on fire. The defense is playing as fast as they played all season long, an elite amount of depth. And that, look, even in the preseason, I gassed up this defense, and I was like, look, the 1s and the 2s on defense specifically are one of the reasons that I'm so optimistic about Alabama. Go back and watch all my videos way back when. The offense, I wasn't so the offense doesn't have as talented as depth as the defense. But you could take a lot of the defensive ones out and swap someone out with the person behind them, and they'd be fine. I promise you. And I could point out a lot of different examples right now. Yanzi Pierre, balling out of control. Dejon Lee, balling out of control, right? You can't say that for every single position, but, I mean, the defense, the 2 deep is ridiculous, all right? From the defensive line to the safety position, they are loaded. Jeremiah Beeman, he was slated to be a starter. Take him out, put in Edric Hill, London Simmons, James Smith, Tim Keenan. Tim Keenan didn't even play first couple of games, and you saw the defensive line was still holding steady. So the defensive line, specifically with them being healthy right now, I feel good about it. I think, like, if Brent Venables is looking at Alabama, I bet they're like, damn, this defense, what are we going to do? I know people are talking about Oklahoma's defense this entire, preview, but I'd be talking about Alabama's defense. Alabama's defense is very difficult to score against, specifically in the red zone. Home field, Bryant-Denny Stadium, this place is on fire. 103,000, have helped Alabama win now 17 in a row, including they're undefeated at home under Coach Kalen DeBoer. I'm not trying to jinx anything. I have nothing to do with any sort of the, jinx sort of stuff, but those are the stats, and they do play well in front of the fans. Even Ryan Williams last night on the Hey Coach show, he was like, we get energy from the more juiced up that Bryant-Denny is. And I'll continue to say this. Bryant-Denny Stadium is way more juiced up now than it has been in the past. When I used to go to the games, it was boring. It wasn't loud. It was, it was pretty much full, but not like this. Now fans understand that they have an impact on the outcome of the game. So Bryant-Denny Stadium has absolutely been turned up. Huge factor, 100%. And I love to see Coach Saban back there. I love the fact that Coach Saban goes to game day. Think about Coach Saban's day. He'll go to game day. This is the best thing. I don't know if he'll be able to make the 2:30 kick. He probably will. But he goes to game day. Whenever game day ends, he gets on the jet, lands in Tuscaloosa, goes home. I don't know if he freshens up or whatever, and then he goes to the football game. So now that Alabama has a 2:30 kick against Oklahoma, I don't know, maybe he does, but he can land at Tuscaloosa Regional Airport. I love the fact that he goes to the games. I think it's dope. All right, battle tested. I think this is really important. Alabama, and this is another reason for my confidence level, Alabama is hella battle tested, 100%. No one in the nation has played a schedule like Alabama. They have been punched in the mouth, right? They've delivered blows. They've weathered the storm. They are ready for whatever comes. They've played good defenses. They've played really good offenses. This entire season has been – that's why I'm so amazed that they're 8-1 right now. I'm like, man, even if they would have dropped another game, that still would be an impressive record considering the schedule that they've played. So they are 100% battle tested, probably more so than anybody ranked 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Alabama has played a way more challenging schedule than Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Georgia, and Ole Miss. 100%. I think Alabama knows what's at stake. That's kind of my last piece of confidence. Alabama already knows that they're going to get the best from Oklahoma. Alabama understands fully what happened last year against Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat the you-know-what out of them. No, it wasn't like they just went over to Norman and they lost. No, Oklahoma did whatever they wanted to do against Alabama and punched Alabama right in the mouth. Even Brett Venables said that after the game. He was like, we punched Alabama in the mouth. He said that, all right? A loss, I think, would be a gut punch. A loss does not kick Alabama out of the playoffs. But let's face it, I'm going to live on this hill forever. When Alabama loses, they are punished more compared to other teams in the top 10 if they lose. That's how I feel. And I saw it because when Alabama lost against Florida State, they dropped what? Was it 16 spots? Miami lost, and they dropped like 9 because Miami lives by a different standard, period. All right? So a gut punch, not kicked out of the playoffs, but they would be penalized, right? Don't lose late in college football. That's also why Alabama's rolling in the college football rankings, because they won 8 games in a row. Don't lose late. Plus, then guess what it does? If Alabama loses against Oklahoma, then they beat Eastern Illinois. They go into that game against Auburn, and Auburn, who has played everybody close, and you know how that game will go. Now, Auburn has a real chance to knock Alabama out of the playoffs if Auburn is able to upset Alabama. So what's at stake here? A tremendous amount. And Alabama still, well, if they beat Oklahoma or if they beat Auburn, they are in the SEC title. But if they lose each of those games, you know what's at stake, okay? All right, as you know, this video is powered by Sleeper. Get $20 when you just download the app, right? You use the promo code TAILGATE. Get a $100 deposit match up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. Available in 25 states. Check out Sleeper. They support me, and you guys should support them as well. So I have my question from Sleeper right here on the board. I'll go full screen so you can see it. I need your help inside the comment box. We'll try to build a parlay together. All right, on the left, we got John Mateer. Is he going to throw for more or less than 205 against Bama? More or less than 205 against Bama. That is John Mateer passing. Type M for more, type L for less against Bama. More or less 205. Oh, man, I think I'm going to say more on this one. That's no disrespect to Alabama's pass defense, but I think if Alabama wants to win this game, or if Oklahoma wants to win, they got to be able to air the ball out. You guys always say less, and you guys are always right. You know, Alabama, it's hard to pass for over 200 yards against Bama. It really is. Okay. I already see everybody inside the comment box saying less. I think it's tough, but I'm not prideful enough to just be like, you're wrong and I'm right. I'll go with less. I go with the undefeated inside the comment box. So everybody is saying less for the majority. I think Tolver Street had it more, but I'm going to go with the undefeated and say less. Okay, how about for our boy Ty Simpson? Ty Simpson, 270. 270, more or less. And it's very easy to make these picks on Sleeper. All you do is literally click more or less, and you're good to go, all right? And I know there's been a couple of you that have cleaned up on Sleeper this season. More or less 270 for Ty. That's a tough one. He don't throw for 270 often, but he throws close to it. Be like 253, 260, 270? I don't know. That's kind of a stretch. Am I cool to say less on this one, fam? No, but Jarvis scares me because he's saying more. And Jarvis is one of those ones who's cleaned up on Sleeper. Man. All right, so we got less for Mateer and more for Ty Simpson. Okay, my next one right here, all right, is I got an anytime touchdown, okay? Is Jeremy Bernard scoring a touchdown? Yes or no? Is Jeremy Bernard scoring a touchdown against Oklahoma? Yes or no? I'll say yeah. I feel confident with this one because he's used as such a Swiss Army knife. He's one hell of a receiver, but he could, he does whatever he wants to do. And I like the way that they utilize him in the red zone, right? Wildcat, different formations. So I think Daniel was like, he better. So we'll take Jeremy Bernard. That's so far we've been the most confident on Jeremy Bernard, right? Okay, Jam Miller. Does Jam Miller score a touchdown? Yes or no? I'm going to say no. I think if they do score a touchdown, it'll probably be by like Daniel Hill from like a couple yards out, similar to last game. Will Jam Miller have a touchdown? Yes or no? Inside the comment box. I'm going to say no on that one. Jake S., what's up, man? Good to see you inside the comment box. He says, Oklahoma secondary is their weakness, so he's taking Jeremy Bernard. Yeah, man. I mean, if Joey Aguilar threw for, 350? Man, maybe we should say Ty Simpson over 300. Maybe that's it, Jake S. What's up, Jake? Good to see you. As you know, this video is also powered by TickPick, okay? So you have to download the app and use the promo code, which is HMA. Say it with me, fam. HMA. I know Dan Caraway inside the comment box uses TickPick. I know there's some concerts that are upcoming, whether it's during the holiday season or in the spring. One particular is coming to Bryant-Denny Stadium, or whatever concert that you want. Check out TickPick. You have to download the app, number one, and you have to use the promo code, which is HMA. So definitely check them out, TickPick. And as we move to my next topic, we got Alabama basketball. So your level of excitement for this game tonight between Alabama taking on Purdue. And as I mentioned up top, as you can see from the Alabama game notes, Alabama is ranked 8th in the AP Top 25 and 9th in the Coaches Poll. Purdue is ranked 2nd in the AP poll, and they are ranked number 1 in the AP Top 25. So this is one hell of a matchup for the early season. And Alabama just beat St. John's, who was number 5 last week, up in New York at Madison, all right? And this basketball team is coming in with a lot of momentum. And even Nate Oates said, look, by the way, the tip-off will be on ESPN2 at 6 p.m., all right? 6 p.m. at Coleman Coliseum. And Nate Oates, all right, you know how I feel about Nate Oates, all right? He said, look, big game. We need a big-time crowd, right? This is a picture from Alabama basketball. Yo, look at that. Look, how are we still worried if Alabama's going to build a new basketball arena? How do you feel about Coleman? I mean, some people call it like a hangar, right? To be honest, I say be careful what you wish for if Alabama gets a new arena, because the new arena will be much smaller than what we have in store. Coleman is a big arena. I mean, 13,000, 14,000. And I think if they did make one, what does it fit? Maybe like 9, maybe 10. And that place would be sold out forever, right? Alabama basketball right now, when you zoom in, they beat North Dakota by a score of 91-62. It was Phylon who had 22 in that game. And then, as mentioned, they did beat St. John's by a score of 103-96. Yesterday, or a couple days ago, Nate Oates says, look, that win against St. John's doesn't matter if we don't play well against Purdue. I was like, Coach, I hate to disagree with you, but, beating St. John's in New York early on in the season, that is one hell of a feather to have in your cap for later on down the year. Now, Alabama plays a ridiculous schedule. As you can see, after Purdue, they take on Illinois, who is currently ranked number 14. You take on Gonzaga, right, who is ranked number 19. You also take on Arizona on December 13th, who is ranked number 5 before SEC play starts there in the back end. So that is a very challenging schedule. Alabama tonight taking on Purdue. I think they are a 3.5-point favorite going against Purdue. A couple nuggets. I got this from Alabama's official notes. Head basketball coach Nate Oates, 145 wins in his 6 seasons. That is ridiculous. Stands out as the most wins in a 6-year span in program history. With the Crimson Tide being ranked number 8 in the AP Top 25 poll, Alabama has now been ranked in 32 consecutive AP Top 25 polls beginning on January 29, 2004. Wow. Alabama's matchup against number 2 Purdue marks the highest AP Top 25 non-conference opponent that the Crimson Tide have faced at home. Oates has now won a program 32 Top 25 games during his tenure at Alabama, surpassing Coach Whip Sanderson 25 games. During Alabama's 7th season under Coach Oates, the Tide is 10-10 against AP Top 25 opponents during non-conference play, including 2 wins against the number 1 team in the country and 5 victories over top 10 opponents. Damn. Since Oates took over the program at the capstone, Alabama has won 75 Southeastern Conference games and 147 overall, which is the most in the SEC span. A couple more. Overall, the past 6 seasons, the Tide has won 131 games, which ranks 7th in the country and number 1 in the SEC. Wow. Another challenging schedule awaits as the Tide will face 12 opponents that are ranked in the preseason AP Top 25, including 5 in its non-conference schedule. So, look, Alabama, this schedule is loaded, and Nate Oates ain't afraid to play anybody, and Nate Oates is clearly the guy. Here are my 3 to watch tonight. You got LeBaron Philon. This guy might be one of the best players in the entire nation. Right now in 2 games, he is scoring 23.5 points per game. It is good to see Latrell Wrightsell back in action, 17 points per game. I think he is absolutely exceptional. He's kind of he has a game-changing ability about him. And then the transfer in from Florida State, Taylor Bobolin. You got to check him out. He is averaging 12.5 per game. Came up with some really good shots against St. John. I think he got the Hard Hat Award. So, yeah, Taylor Bobolin. Those are my big 3 to watch. We'll see how they fare tonight against Purdue. Tip-off time, 6 p.m. ESPN 2. Hey, fam, as a reminder, this is how you can support us, okay? So thank you so much for your continued consideration of Bama football on YouTube. Number 1, turn on all your notifications. Make sure you're subscribed so you always catch the videos when they drop. Hit the thumbs up on all these videos. Become a fan funder. Hit the join button underneath the window, and you'll see there's different options to join Bama football on YouTube. Super chats go such a long way, so thank you so much for the super chats. And then follow us on social media, most importantly our Facebook channel, where we have 70,000 viewers. Hey, fam, I hope that you had a good show today. Thank you so much. You know, Thursday, I think we get to that point in time, and you're ready for kickoff, and I am too. Tomorrow will be our score prediction show where you guys call in, give me your score prediction. I love that show because it's a good time for me to rap with you person to person and, you know, feeling good going into this weekend. Oklahoma, 100%, is going to be one hell of an opponent. I can't wait to see it, but I would rather live in this space. I would rather play tough competition on a weekly basis. You could be playing like a Michigan State. You could be playing like a Wisconsin. You could be playing, you know, some of these lesser tier teams where you would know kind of the outcome. I think living in this world, it gets you battle tested for the back end of this hell of a season. Because if you think about it, I mean, you have 8-1. You still got, if you really want to make a run at the championship, you still have to win 6-7 more games to win the National Football Championship. So, you know, love to see it. Love to be here. Honor covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. Thank you so much. We'll see you later on, you know, for news that happens or for the basketball game later tonight. Remember, ESPN 2, 6 p.m., Alabama taking on Purdue. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this beautiful Thursday, November 13th. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Be where your feet are at, and I'll catch you